What's up, everybody? This is Andy Morales, and thank you for tuning into this podcast. As you already know, as I already have announced it on Instagram, that this podcast has officially been rebranded. It is no longer Jandom Sessions Live because moving forward, we are now under the umbrella of Unraveled Influence. That I don't know why I said umbrella, but really it's the new name of this podcast, Unraveled Influence. And I am proud to announce my first guest under this new name, Angela Murray. Angela, welcome.
So honored to be here on the premiere of this awesome recasting your new year, new podcast. Thank you. Incredible.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I guess we'll just start off with this. So how did poetry work for you? How did it start for you?
Oh, great. So everybody's poetry origin story, I'm sure, is different, but also very similar. Poetry came at me pretty hard for probably a lot of you guys out there for, love. So I always been interested in writing as a kid, kind of academic, uh, and things like that with writing. And poetry just kind of fell into it naturally when I started hanging out with this guy who in high school who was a poet, and try to impress him with the writing skills. Kind of worked out a little bit, good times, bad times, but that's kind of where I kind of broke out into really finding my voice in that medium.
Awesome.
So it's
Awesome.
so weird. Like, do you think that happens a lot, that a lot of people fall into poetry due to like relationships?
Yeah, I think so. I get what you mean. You know, it's crazy too because I feel like through poetry, especially this community, I feel like I've definitely found my voice. I
Mm-hmm.
guess you can say because oh, how do I explain this? So I know for me personally, um when it came to finding my voice, it was a very struggle because like I've had like growing up. Unfortunately, I had a lot of verbal abuse and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and I was always told no. I was always put down, verbal abuse. Oh, get out of here! You don't know anything. And I always wanted to put my work out there, but I never knew what platform or where to go to start about that. Because yeah, I could say I want to write a book, but how could I write a book if I ain't got no audience to
Yeah.
really?
I hear you because I actually sometimes I feel like I'm struggling to still find my voice, and at the same time I feel like this is my true authentic voice and not the voice that I've ever used in any other aspect of my life. Because yeah, you're taking things that you've experienced in your life, whether it's emotionally positive or emotionally negative, and you're really trying to just put it into some authentic feeling. And so when did you feel like you found like your real voice? Like right away, or it took
No,
a little?
so for
I'm still
me,
struggling.
so for me, when I first found my voice, I feel like I'm still finding it, but I'm getting there. I think when I really decided that okay, I can finally say I have a voice, I'm gonna say 2020 during the pandemic,
Okay, definitely, definitely. I understand that. I think a
because
lot of people found that then.
in my because during that time I was talking about it with Leon on on the last episode we did where we was talking about how 2020 it seemed like poetry was peaking at one point because
Mhm.
everybody was going live, everybody was doing
Yeah,
prompts, everybody was doing the
yeah.
because when I had
I,
my because when I had my community page, I remember oh man, I remember like I used to have a community page called Ink Sessions Live. It was called Jam
yeah.
Them Down. Like I
I,
went through a lot of stuff. And
well, actually, I didn't come into the whole Instagram until 2019. I came in right as like it had already just established itself with all the various major poetry houses that were broadcasting different themes and doing lots of lives every week, every night. And I really came in hard in 2019, and then hitting the pandemics when I had to like stop. So
oh wow.
I remember those in session lives. I think I definitely had been in those. I mean, that's when I really had found my voice at first, and then I just came crashing down. So this is me coming back after like a 2 year
Oh
hiatus.
wow. Okay, so you do remember Ink Sessions Live because I used
Yeah,
to. It was
definitely.
me, Amanda, Robin, Z,
Yeah,
and
there's a heyday. Like I got to like be on the outskirts of when it was really popping off, and
oh
coming
my
back, I'm kind
god.
of feeling like it is a little bit missing as far as like the super community. popping with all the different houses coming together, with everybody really wanting to share all their stuff, people wanting to engage in that discourse. I think we're trying to come back to that, but it wasn't like how it was right there at that 2019, 2020.
Yeah. Oh my
I
god.
like I had to like take a break.
Yeah, a
People
lot of people. That's funny because certain people were taking breaks, but then some people. There was more people coming in that I never even knew existed.
I know. I wish I had taken that time instead of crumbling, taking the time to like hone in craft and follow. So like I love reading people who got to get their voice at that time.
Yeah.
Where it's I'm gonna take that time period and reflect and try and put some good stuff out now. But continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. It's fine. No, I'm fascinated. Like I just love to tell stories. This is why I decided to do this podcast, and I'm glad that Leon's doing this with me too because we all have stories to tell. We all have something to talk about, and it's like there's a lot of things that don't get talked about a lot, and that's why I wanted to be more expansion onto this podcast. And I feel like rebranding was definitely something that had to be done.
Mm.
Because oh my god, okay, so
So along with rebranding, what else are you hoping to include? Because I love having Leon as a co-host. I think that's amazing. That's great. I think discourse is going to happen. I'm really looking forward to hearing those episodes where you guys are having these conversations alongside.
no,
You know,
thank you, thank you. I mean, yeah, like even though this is how it's starting, but eventually I like to have more hosts too. We could like rotate and stuff like that, and just I'm always open for expansion. It'll start off as two people, but eventually I'll have like maybe more co-hosts where we're all alternating and come up with ideas for episodes because we all have a story to tell. And it's like not everybody gets the opportunity to really have a place so they can tell a story. Like I never met, let's say I never like you and I really never
right?
interacted till now recently, and I saw your post and I say, yo, I gotta hit this one up. Something about you, and it's like I don't know, and then here we are doing this episode. So it's like I love that. People think I'm weird. To me, I love that.
No, I was so ecstatic when you reached out because yeah, we were back in when I started 2019. I like I said, I was just trying to finally put myself out there because I'm a person that believes in like the whole dichotomy where there's like two halves, but they both mean the same thing, but they're different. I know that totally didn't make any sense, but like it's a part to whole and whole to part situation where I live a totally different life and then there's my creative existence. But who am I really? Who's my identity? That's what I'm saying. Like I'm struggling finding my identity, my voice right now where I hear from you and some other people who have found their voice and are really kind of putting it out there. That's where I'm trying to follow you guys.
No,
Um,
I get you. I get you. I mean, for me, I guess when you say like, even though I guess I could say, yeah, I definitely found my voice, but it's like I'm navigating my voice, if that makes sense. I'm still trying to explore what else can I do with this voice, if that
mhm.
makes sense. And
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think where there's a lot of different types of writers that we have out there, and it's really fascinating and cool to start engaging with all the different types of writers because we have our writers that are using this more as like a diary, coping, psychological therapy, connecting with other people because they are able to experience, you know, uh, bonding with each other who have gone through similar things because this is a way we're trying to put something beautiful from something traumatic from our life. And then you have people who are, your literary, poetic, trying to look for specific complex mediums and styles and going for more of an academic approach. So it's awesome to have that intermix. Do you feel like that's what we are seeing out there?
yeah, I definitely do. I definitely believe that, and I love the fact that because what's crazy too. Before this community, I never, I like when it came to mental health or
Mm-hmm.
trauma or whatever, I never really talked about that because I was telling Leon a while back. Well, I grew up in a Hispanic household where that was
Mm-hmm.
frowned upon. Like you can't
Yeah.
really talk about that. And yeah, I've been through psychiatric therapy. I was on medication growing up, and to tell my dad I'm not doing this anymore, that was like the hardest decision and the hardest thing I ever had to do because I was sheltered. I was on
Mm-hmm.
the social security income thing and I wasn't able to work, and I wanted to feel like a normal person. So the fact
Absolutely.
that breaking that wall that I felt like, oh, I don't know if you know biblical stuff, but you know that story of Samson where he's chained up to the pillars and he just broke the pillars down. That's kind of what it felt like, and it was hard because I'm like,
Hard but
okay,
at the same time, because it sounds like you really overcame something that was stifling, and I can completely understand and commiserate alongside. I did I did not grow up in a Hispanic household. However, I do have half siblings who are half Colombian. But they're like my idols, but I was never raised with them. And then I have me and my sister who are with my family, and we don't talk about emotion at all. They would not. I've never shared poetry with my family like that. I would be almost devastated to share my poetry with them. Um, just because that's not the relationship I have with my family. Like I feel like maybe that's similar to what kind of what you're saying, where the emotions are kept to the side. It's more you do the things daily to show your respect for your family, and that's the way it is, and you don't cross it because that's kind of like where I feel like I stifled myself because I've been afraid to really go for creative, uh, like potential professional creative avenues because I didn't want to disappoint my father, so to speak, because he grew up Fargo, North Dakota, born 1941. World War II is just happening, and he's
wow,
Fargo, North Dakota. He went through childhood abuse. His mom was beat and died when he was 7 years old. He was raised by his alcoholic, abusive father in a hotel room, and we're talking like the 40s. He
wow,
ended up to the military and then ended up in California where he had his first wife, where he had my sister and brother, and then also his current wife is happy to be my mom. But he never talked about that at all. Like to even know some of that stuff is pretty wild. Because again, we hide it,
yeah,
and we kind of go up by the strap, our bootstraps. You know, we pull ourselves up every day. We get up every day. Because I've had recently almost every different part of group of people in my life have come to me like as of recently, and that's why I've gone back into my poetry creative
mm,
avenues because they're like, I'm worried about you. Like
yeah.
2020 broke me, and I thought 2021 was going to get better, and it didn't, and 2022 was going to get better, and then it definitely didn't, and 2023, I mean, I have to say it's getting better because I'm already doing some crazy awesome stuff. I'm here with the rebranding, and this amazing podcast here with Leon as the co-host. And so like I gotta make 23 happen. And I have seeked out some medication for stuff like that, but I need to do more. And so I've been using writing as therapy, but because again, I'm similar to I think you, where I can swallow it down. And that's how I function. And I'm actually pretty decent at functioning, but again, if everybody's coming at me like you're not okay, what's that giving off to the world? You know what I mean?
But you know what's crazy though, because I hate the whole, let's say for example, oh, you're not okay, so hey, and then they automatically assume the
I'm worried about
worst.
you.
And I'm
I'm worried.
like, and I get the concern, I get all that, but I'm like, okay, but there is one thing I've learned about my life, and especially me being married, me having because my son's gonna be 4 in February, and one thing I've
Yeah,
learned is that there is such thing as overcaring, right? There is such thing as that because
I
when you
suffer from that. I suffer
no,
from
me
that.
too, me
I
too.
it's I know that about myself. So that's why I think I try to pull everything to safety things. Like I get that from my dad. Like if I'm safe and secure, I have that routine. And I'm not routine at all. I'm very type B. I'm very sloppy, messy. I'm not organized at all. But like my day to day is very similar, But I have like things that would be considered successful. I have a beautiful family. I have a wonderful career. In my real life, I'm a teacher, and it's pretty incredible that I get to have that experience too. But I don't identify as a teacher. I identify as this deeply creative writer, dark soul type person.
See,
So
but I feel
I
like
love
that's where
that.
I feel like that's where broken is like. I think that's the area where what brokenness is broke. I don't know if that made sense, but I
Yeah,
think
go for it. Tell
where
me. You go ahead.
brokenness when brokenness is beautiful. I guess if that makes sense.
It's like the whole wabi sabi. There's beautiful in that imperfection. I
Yes.
think it's kind of like I believe the same motif. I could be off too, but I like how you express that completely. I feel like I'm okay. I know I'm not as good as I can be, but I feel like I'm in control. And I think I got to keep my composure a little bit better. I just work had sucked so bad. Like I say, I'm a teacher. Pandemic really broke me. I had kids that needed to be in school. Being at home, they couldn't get onto the computer. There were a lot of families that had so many kids that they just could not manage it. So
Wow.
not only do we have a situation where we've lost more time, it's just we're still struggling to get it all the way back. But the students are great. They have resolve, but again, it's we could talk about all these different crazy things because they all kind of intersect and intermeet about people, relationships, and coming together, and everybody has a story.
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
No, absolutely. Walk me through like 2019, 2020, right? If you don't mind, like walk me through that. Okay, so walk me through the day they said, okay, everything is shut down. Like what was going through your mind? Like walk me through that.
Oh, it was like pretty crazy. So 2019 to 2020, so like that was the year we were in school that we ended up going. It was like you went home and they're like, you're not coming back. And it's like we went and left in the middle of the night and we were gone. And we would think we were coming right back. So let me actually make a little more sense because I think I just went straight to like the theme. So like, let me set you up. I at the time I'm co-teaching a biology class with this person who I've been teaching with for 8 years. We are this incredible team. So I'm not trying to like make this up. We work really hard to try to bring our authentic selves into the classroom. So I'm able to be more myself, which allows students to like relax and be more themselves. And so, like you said, we're having an okay year. It's like February. They tell us to go home at the week before spring break. You're not coming back. And then we just never came back and we never really saw those kids. And it was just, I went into an instant depression.
Wow.
I have two daughters. They were both in middle school at the time. My eldest, who is like not because I do anything, like she just happens to be very conscious about her own academics, like a straight A B student, and then she ended up like almost failing a bunch of classes because she got so depressed, being at home, and it was devastating. And I didn't know how to help my own family. I didn't know how to help myself. Um, and then at the same time, my school district decided to split me and my work pal for the next school year. And so we haven't been able to work together since. Good news is that I think we are scheduled to get back together to work next year. So I'm looking forward to having that opportunity again. But like I said, like I could walk out of that door and never come back because of how just rough it's been. And it's not, like I said, it's never been the students. In my experience, it's just been the bureaucracy and everything that comes down in that world. Because I am a teacher, not because I am a teacher, because I'm a poet, I'm an artist. I do that because it just feels like it's the right thing to do. School made sense to me. I Nothing else really made sense to me. Maybe that's why I teach, because I didn't have any other forethought. I actually, to be fair, I went in for psychology. When I graduated high school, I wanted to go into psychology, and I got a degree in psychology, but I didn't want to continue going down that avenue because I just was struggling a little bit. And then I ended up finding teaching as a minor, and then ended up getting a master's and doing it that way. So
Wow. Hey, but you know what? I think, at the end of the day, it gives you the opportunity to make a difference. That's the way I see it. So, like, I think you having that, what was a minor become a major, I guess you could say, if
I
that
like
makes
that. I like
sense.
how you prefer that, a minor to a major. And I hate that we're talking about my work because I really am so sick of it. And like I said, I don't feel like I am this work person. Work is almost like my performance art. It's when I
Okay.
go, I'm bubbly. I'm like, hi, good morning, how are you? But the kids hate it. I teach high school ninth grade. Like they love me, but they're not like hi back. I mean, they're annoyed by me, but in a good way.
Right.
Um, like I play that. I don't want to say like Magic School Bus character or like Jess from New Girl kind of character, but that's kind of the persona I am at work.
Right.
And then at home, it's like completely different. I'm withdrawn. I'm not friendly. I'm into my, the darkness, the writing, the craft, where I feel like I'm able to take, you know, this kind of medium and try to put something out there that is something that people think is like, wow, that really connected to me in whatever way, whether it's personal or artistic. I I'm afraid to be myself. I'm afraid to put this stuff out there. But
That
it takes
uh
doing it. 2019, when I started it, it was amazing. Like at first, of course, I'm I, I'm prideful. Unfortunately, uh, I didn't get quite a like super response immediately. But then again, we had these great communities at the time. I would go into this live, and then we would have these poetry cons. Uh, I I had, I think Brett was somebody that was around uh, Bria Highland Hart,
oh,
and
Brett, yes,
I loved
yes.
his stuff was like he was incredible. That whole group, I like you said, like Robin, like the names you mentioned, the name sessions. I loved like these great houses, and then the responses came, and I really felt like I was starting to find my voice. Like I struggle, like my co-teacher at work, she's done such a great job helping me feel like I am an artist. Like she helps remind me, you're an artist, because I don't know if how can I say I'm an artist? I don't pursue art. I've never
Well, the
academically
thing is,
studied art, but am I an artist? I think like an artist. I act like an artist. I'm weird like an
well,
artist. But
artisticness comes in different shapes and form. I believe, and I believe like just because I'm not, let's say, Edgar Allan Poe or H.G. Wells. Okay, I'm not that those people, but I like to think, yeah, I'm a poet, but I like to tell stories too. Do I write short stories? No. I like to tell stories. I like to talk about things and stuff. But I think I like to say, yeah, I'm a poet. I'm not a famous poet, but I'm a poet, just
yes,
because that's the way I
you are
see it.
absolutely no, but it's not just you. I think we all see it. I think all of us are poets. I can identify myself as a poet, no doubt. I can say that for sure. I feel confident in that identity because just been doing writing and having opportunity to write, whether it's in an academic professional career or just putting these little dinky things out here and there. I can't identify that, but to identify myself as an artist who I really feel like I am inside, that I don't know if I can say. That makes me feel like I know the new term is imposter syndrome. We used to call it I mean, they say being fake or posing, being a poser. Like, I want to say I'm an artist, but I feel like I'm such an idiot to say that.
No, don't say that. Don't. Trust me. If there's the one that struggles with self-esteem issues, is me. Trust me. I know exactly what you're saying. And
It, am I seeing it? Because, like I said, I kind of run through this whole ideology of the dichotomy where it's yes and no, depending on which way the light is shining through the image. So, like, I I forgot where I was going with that, but the point is that am I an artist or not? It depends on how we're looking at it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get you. I get you. And
Like, am
it's
I wearing the outfit right or am I wearing the outfit wrong?
right. But that's the thing. But, like, what's interesting, though, because civilization has changed dramatically, right? Because at one point, I'm going to say the 90s going to 2000s, there was a certain way we have to act. There was a certain way we have to behave. Like, for example, if you live in, like, in the hood, like, say, I grew up in the ghetto, and there was a certain way you had to dress, and if you didn't dress up to par, they would look at you like, okay, this guy's weird, get away from me. And opposed to, like, in civilization today, where anybody could wear bunny slippers outside and that's
Yeah, we're
okay.
definitely getting into the informal era. We are in pajama pants is acceptable, and um, I also am in this ideology where I think everybody should be able to live the life that they want to live as long as it's not hurting themselves or other people and does not prevent other people from reaching and establishing the kind of life that they want to live. So, do I care if people wear pajama pants in public or not? I don't know, but yes, because we've gotten informal, it's kind of like the I'm gonna quote it wrong. It's like the broken window syndrome, where that broken window causes the neighborhood to overturn into the disarray. We're not taking care of ourselves, and we're not taking care of each other, and that's why I feel like that's why I've stayed in the education, dealing with these students who are like 15, 16 years old. Um, I teach in a high needs district, even though the area is not a high needs area, but because of all the broken institutionalized establishment things that have been allowed, and even though we denounce it, they are still allowed to continue. I've stayed there because we just got to reach out to each other. We're all just people, and if we can figure out how to get back to humanity, tell our stories, connect our stories, ex- come together and say this. I don't know. I forgot to ask you about appropriate language, so I will
No,
keep it
it's
to.
fine. You can curse. I don't care.
Because if I get into a cursing streak, I will curse incredibly terribly. But
No,
it's
no. I should. My Leon doesn't like it. Leon
no,
doesn't like
oh,
when I curse, but
oh, okay. Well, I don't want to offend any co-host, but
no,
yeah.
but it's fine. Like you can curse. Like
All
it's
right, well
fine.
then, yeah. Sorry, Leon. Um, but what I'm saying is, like, we have to accept shit as shit. We have to allow it to come together, come to resolution, and move on as humanity, but also allow people to speak. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Is it time for my voice?
Well,
I
here's
don't
the
know if it's time
thing.
for my
But here's the
voice.
thing. I mean, from what I'm hearing, I believe. I think you have your voice. You're just right now. You're just navigating how to use your voice. That's the way I'm
Mhm.
seeing it because I feel like that's the season I'm in right now where. Like I found my voice through this community as far as okay, but now what else can I do with it? And I think that's where you're at right now. It's more like what else can I do with this? Because I know I can do more. I could read a poem, but I can
Mhm.
make an impact. I can give good advice. I could speak in ways that I never thought my mind can go to sometimes.
It's. I think it's. I said, like, I know you're a poet. I know all these incredible people out there that are posting constantly are poets, whether how they feel, whether they've published a book or not. Absolutely. But yeah, it's I have to figure out, am I at the position where I can step into a place where I have enough authority and agency to claim it? Yeah, I do have an authentic opinion here, and I think it's a good opinion to share. And
Good.
I want to have that discourse. I don't know though, because again, because of and this is gonna be weird. I gotta stop saying dichotomy. Um, I don't know if I'm being an arrogant asshole or if I'm being correct. So that's I'm always in a position. I think, like you said, it's probably because of a lot of mental health and self-esteem issues. I probably have a lot of undiagnosed things that I need to work through, and that's definitely where I'm at, trying to get myself together in this. Because 2023 is going to be the year where we all take, it's going to be the year of the rabbit, and so that's going to bring in some new change or whatnot. But just yeah, saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do here with this. But I don't know. I get scared. I'm the person who feels like the universe is going to tell me what to do, but it hasn't.
But you know what? Like, this is one of those things that I feel like, you know what? It's about time I tell the universe, no, you're not going to run my life like this anymore. This is what I'm going to do. And that's it. Like, for example, yeah, I'm going to worship Jesus, whether you like it or not. I'm
and
going to
that's
talk
and
about
that
my
should be
God, and
that
that's it.
yes, absolutely. And you should be allowed to have that experience and live that existence if that's the life you want to live, just as if anybody else wants to have any other religious view. As long as you're not, hurting yourself or hurting other people or preventing them from having that experience. Yeah, so I think that's great that you're claiming the existence. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the year. I think we all need to go out there and claim this is what I am, this is what I'm doing, and manifest it and put it into action. And yeah, I gotta stop waiting for it to happen, and I gotta do it myself. I've been told that I should put together a collection. Uh, so I'm thinking like that maybe that could be my first step. Is that something that you had considered for yourself, or this is the where you're really focusing on this aspect of it? Because there's so many great
Yeah.
in this whole community. You don't have to be the person writing the books. You could be the person engaging in the discourse, you know?
Yeah, you know what's crazy though, because it's like, one day, yeah, I want to read a, I want to read a book. I know,
Me
I'm reading
too.
a book.
That's on my list too, to read a book.
Oh my god, I meant, oh my god,
Okay.
I want to write a book eventually, right? That's not my priority right now. I
That's
haven't
great.
posted, like, I've done a lot of more reciting my poems on a video. I wrote a poem that was inspired by America by Allen Ginsberg, and I was talking
Okay.
about the student loan debt relief, how it's so
Mm-hmm.
confusing. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's really going on here? Because you're saying one thing, but it contradicts the other. It's like a whole thing I put on, as a video. But as far as posting and hey, to be featured in a community, like I don't really care too much about that. I think I'm more like I want to root people on kind of person, because I know what it feels like to not be rooted for. So I say, I want to be the one that, yeah, I'm gonna root you on. I got this. You got this. It's all good. And I think this is why. So I'm more of what we're doing right now. This is like my main
Yeah.
concern, trying to make this a little bigger.
Building the community back. I think you're the one who's going to connect it all back to whether or not, we are doing different, this is the poetry group that is focused on micro poetry. I picked like the most random ridiculous. This is a group that's gonna focus on poetry that is geared towards mental health. I think you're figuring out what do we want, what's engaging us, and what's engaging us into our inspiration, and what are we trying to create.
You know
So
what's
I think that's great. I think we need people like you.
Thank you.
I
No,
I,
thank you. I
I think
appreciate that.
we need to include, like, we need to be welcoming of that, because there are so many people doing great things. They're not sure how to support each other, and I don't know. Like you said, we were together in the I don't want to call it the heyday of poetry on Instagram, but it's a heyday of poetry on Instagram. Um, we never even got a chance to really have a chance to get to come to the table, so to speak, until now. And
This
I
is
think it's
true.
great. And we need to, I don't feel like I'm able to connect to a lot of uh, people this way.
You
So
know what
I'm
I
welcome.
blame? But I do blame one thing as far
Okay.
as that is concerned, and that's the algorithm. I blame the
Uh,
algorithm, because ever since they created this formula, it's like a whole different thing. Because I remember one time
I agree.
certain people would get
Mm-hmm.
maybe 20, 30 likes. Now they're only getting 3 or 4. And it's because
Yeah.
you got to do
Mm-hmm.
this. And it's annoying. I'm more like, okay, fuck the algorithm. Let's
Oh,
break
sure.
the algorithm.
Yeah.
I want to break the damn algorithm. Like, just crack the code, break it, and that's it. Like, screw you, algorithm. That's how I feel.
I totally understand, because like I said, even though I understand that the writing is for myself, and that my always thing is like, this place for me is about my work and showcasing my work. It's not really a place for me, and that's why maybe I missed out. I don't really engage in the social aspects of the, and maybe that's why people don't know me as much, especially since there's not as many group lives, or like everybody's getting together on this night because this is the night we do it.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's just funny. That's
That's
one
part
thing.
of it too. Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm my bad. I'm sorry. No, no. Because
That's
it's
fine. Oh,
So that's one thing I was talking to Leon about, even like before we recorded the last episode, how a lot of communities have come and gone, right? Because when I first, okay, so when I first came into the scene, I was at home one day and I got tagged by something. I'm like, what the heck is this? Who's
mhm.
tagging me in this? And it was Poets Anonymous. And it
Yes,
was
yes,
Zillium Poetry and Tara Nicole, I think her name was.
yes.
And
There you
through
go.
there, that's because that was around the same time that
Mhm.
they actually started to do suggestions like you can follow. So that's when they first started doing that. And then
Mhm.
from there, I found Your Heart Beats Loud. That's how I met
Yes,
Brett. That's how I met
yes,
Natalie.
yes,
That's how
yes.
I met Stephanie Lamb Poetry.
Yes, I was there. I had known those people, so we were like on the outskirts. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's an algorithm a little bit. It's also,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
we
how I
don't
met
know
Z
who we are.
Zielinski too. Another one. That's how I met her
Yeah.
through there.
Like, to be fair, like Leon, I've never had the privilege of truly engaging with Leon, as much as we've had this opportunity here, where I've had some other poets, but I've had the opportunity to read Leon's work and like Leon's work, and we had been before, back in 2019, more engaged then. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to engaging with more authentic writers who are like ready to come together to the table to have the discourse discussions, to push each other creatively, to say, hey, how are we using our voice? Because that's what I'm saying. Uh, like I said, as much as people are telling me I'm worried about you, I'm also getting a lot of push to try and be into more leadership positions, like at work, and like I'm against being in the leadership position. And it's not that I'm necessarily an introvert. I definitely feel like especially at work with my you know, performance art, I'm extroverted there, but I don't want to do the leadership work where I'm leading adults. I just want to do my job. There's
Wait,
something very
so
wrong.
okay, because I get you, because I can't talk about the place that I work at, but what I do I can
Yeah, of
say
course.
is I'm an operations manager, so I'm like pretty much when
Yeah.
my manager, when the head honcho's not there, I'm the next guy in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm not there, there's another operations manager. So there's like two of us, whatever. And when I first worked there, I just wanted to do my job, be a supervisor, go home, and that's it. And my boss kind of saw potential in me. Like like I've had
That's
other
good.
jobs too, but this particular job, this is one of the first bosses I had that said, you have the opportunity to do this. You can do it. And he
Mm-hmm.
saw that I kind of, because I do doubt myself a lot. I have very low self esteem. Even my
Oh,
wife have to
yeah, 100%.
smack me
100%.
up. My wife has to smack me around sometimes. I'm like, okay, babe. Like, as a matter of fact, she was the one that was pushing me to do my podcast again because I had like a long time that I didn't do it, and I started coming back, and I was doing it once in a while, and I'm like, okay, there's something missing, and that's when I realized, okay, I need
Yeah.
a co-host, and I had someone before, and it just didn't work out just because the conflicting schedules, but then somehow God has a way of reconnecting me and Leon because we're both men of God and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, Lord, if
For
this is
you
what
guys.
you want, all right, we're doing this. Like, and everything just happened
Mm-hmm.
so miraculously, I guess you can say. And it's
Yeah.
just, but
Absolutely.
the whole leadership thing, I get what you're saying, but I feel like, and I'm learning this now, if someone's pointing your direction for that, I believe the reason why that is because they see something in you that's missing from what they need,
Mhm.
and you could be that person that's gonna make a big change. And I think you're that change that they need in the leadership to make it better.
Wow.
Woo!
Thank you. I
Thank you,
mean,
Lord.
for someone who has no idea at how I'm really doing at work, I appreciate that, and I will take that. And you know what? You're absolutely right because you said earlier about how you were somebody who was going to be on SSI income, and now you're somebody who is the number two person in your position. Like that's a testament to you, and people also seeing the potential in you and helping lead the way. Like I said, I don't like to talk about work because like I'm afraid, like I don't want anybody to really know anything about this, but because I like to, because again, I don't want to talk ill about my work, but the work in general is not a positive place. It's very toxic, unnecessarily toxic. But the fact is, yeah, I forgot where I was going with that.
Not it's
But
all fine.
I remember. No, I remember. No, I remember now. I got it because here's what I wanted to say. But at work, I am the intervention specialist, which is like the person who is for diverse learners. And
Mm.
so that's what I'm saying is I love providing opportunity for people who did not realize there are opportunities available because if anybody, if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. We just got to figure out what works for you. And so that's why I've loved my job on a humanity aspect. And I will continue to try, especially if I could be with the person who is aligned with me, where we work incredibly hard to do things that are just awesome for these students. We had our students present at a college when we were working together, and we're talking about like again, we're talking about a co-taught classroom, so that we're talking about students who are different types of learners. We're talking about students who have identified disabilities, but they are presenting at a college. So we can make anything happen as long as we're willing to figure out what works for people and do what it takes. And that is also like, how do we make this community happen? As we figure out what does this community need, and we make it happen. And we have people like you and Leon having the conversations with people who people don't know, like Angela Murray, because of the algorithm or because there's no real place that people go.
Yeah, this is true. And there's not a lot of communities like they use, like Poets Anonymous, unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken. I know there was I don't know what happened, but apparently now it's like they don't do lives anymore. And I
Mm.
think Tara was trying to do lives with I think Girl the Poet, I think.
Yes, yes, I did one the other day for one of the Blow the Poet, and
But
it
it's
was, it
not
might have
as
been
much because I remember when I first started, it was more like
again.
it was like a whole schedule. It's like when you watch a TV
Like
show.
Monday was so and so. Like Monday would have been Joe, and like Wednesday was Tara,
Yeah, and then Lois, yeah,
and they ask people sometimes, and like, oh, Wednesday wear wacky socks. Like that didn't happen, but like they had things that people wanted to engage in the social part where the poetry was happening. Now I do see a lot
yes,
of open mics things happening.
yeah.
I don't
Brian
know if it's
Edwards started that
popular.
actually, and then it was me after that. Like I remember me and Brian Edwards was doing it for a little bit, but that's funny because I was talking to Leon how I do want to start going back to that. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of how and to say, okay, now that I know my permanent schedule, then how can I go about it? How can I schedule it where every week I can start doing an open mic and stuff like that?
And
Because
I think
that's definitely a high demand for sure.
And I'll tell you what though, not only though with the open mic is that you have people sitting out there like me, Angela Murray, who maybe want to try and do the open mic, but have never really figured out do I, do I jump in or not? And so having you reach out to me, inviting me to do this that's what also too, like we need to invite people to participate in this. And that's maybe like finding those people that haven't been there, reaching out saying, "Hey, I like your work. Would you like to do an open mic? Or if not, would you like to come and we'll have somebody else read your work?" Because I think that's what makes it so great is that we are sharing each other's work. Poetry, especially, needs to be read, whether it's from the poet, the author, or from somebody else. It just, I always like to, I always like to leave with this line: and "Thank you for giving my words a voice." It just
Yeah.
or life. It's so much different. I don't know if people out there have never been to a live or never had their work read in a live because hearing your work or reading your work out loud and that it's it really does, I think, make it that much more of an elevated experience where we are getting that authority, that agency, because where are our poetry houses? Where are our, where we're coming together and sharing our work? Because we're not getting together like that anymore. Like we're
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
literary speakeasies, or we're not getting together in the 50s beatnik style and snapping it out together. We need to get back to that because poetry is a medium that does need to be shared.
And you know what's crazy too? Because when I had my interview with Robert Charbonneau, he was talking because he did a post recently about is poetry dying, and the other one was is there a death of poetry, right? But then in the live that I did with him, we was talking about how at one point there was an impactful actually no, there was a big impact in poetry, especially back in the 50s going to 60s, because I was interviewing a couple of seasons back with Tony Trigilio, who's a professor in Chicago, I think Columbia University, and he's a scholar for the Beat Generation. And what
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't know, and I'm glad I had him on the show a while back, was that the Beat Generation was the bridge for the hippies era.
Yeah, they were the anti-establishment at the time.
Yeah, and Allen Ginsberg was a
Post World War II.
big yeah.
Yeah.
Allen, I actually have his book Howl, which I've read
Oh,
maybe like 3 times already, and that's because of Tony Trigilio. But this is what I'm saying. This is a guy that has nothing to do with the poetry community that I came across by like I just came across this guy because there was a community page that they were trying to do a movie about a poet that didn't get as much exposure, and her name was Elise Cowan. And they were trying to do they were trying to do a thing where we could do a movie about her, but then how did she play a role in the Beats generation, even though she wasn't really well known like that? And one thing they talked about was the fact that Allen Ginsberg was very complacent with their friendship, but it wasn't until she committed suicide then years
mm-hmm.
later her roommate just happened to find
Mm-hmm.
um a notebook that he had, and then he just started publishing her work. And Tony Trigilio started doing some stuff too. But one thing I noticed with Allen Ginsberg, he was countercultural. He was the kind of guy like he spoke
Oh, definitely, yeah.
in
Oh,
ways that like he was talking about stuff. He was talking about like genitals swinging around in Central Park and people getting high on shrooms or whatever, but he was so real about it. And it's like at one point, poetry was the source that had the only impact. If you go on Spotify, you could find Allen Ginsberg's stuff, like him actually reciting it.
Oh, that's cool. Because I definitely have. I'm kind of like the person who is a little into like I love finding the books that are the letters. So I have
Yes.
letters between Allen Ginsberg and I want to say Hughes, but I'm not sure if it was Hughes. I don't think it was Timothy Hughes or, but I have like a lot of like, Sylvia Plath diary letters and stuff like that. Love that kind of when I look into those poetic people, those historical, like our idols of the past, finding
Okay.
those diary type or the letters between people. It's just, and maybe that's where I really like. I kind of maybe I'm a little bit of a creep going through like the letters and stuff like that, but that kind of interests me. There was something I wanted to say about what you had mentioned, as it kind of makes you think like how many incredible poets are or writers and artists are out there that their stuff is just in the basement somewhere, I want to hope that's me. Like I'm hoping that somebody finds my work, but however, I'm hoping I can just publish my own work before that.
But you know what's crazy though? What you saying that is, there's other outlets you can use now to actually publish your work. There's these independent ones that you can use. There's even within the community that other poets on the community that actually has publishing companies now. I know this Tara Calaboo has Raw Earth Inc. There's also Carlos Medina with Mage Soul Publishing. There's also Stephanie Lamb Poetry who has the what's it called? Quill Keepers, right? But then there's also these independent ones. Basically, there's the independent ones. That's not. I guess that's like self-profit. I don't know how that stuff works. And then there's also stuff that you could independently do it yourself. You could publish the pieces yourself. And then there's also, I think there's also Amazon that you can use their outlets to publish things as well.
I think maybe that's what us as the community needs to do. Is we do have these pockets of people who are starting the publishing piece, and there are editors out there. I think there's other people who are coming out as, hey, I'm going to be editing. Let me know. Like we can become our own publishing community. So like whoever's out there who are like, we can get make our own little Instagram poetry publishing house, because we have people who are establishing their own printing group, and there's editors out there. Because I feel like my issue is that I am only the creative side when it comes to this. So like I said, I'm being ignorant about like speaking at a live or making a reel or being on a podcast. Like I don't know that side of things because I'm so hyper focused on the day-to-day of my everyday life. I have so much going on that I don't have time to designate into learning enough of that, where I need a team. There's people that need the team. We got to build a team for these people.
Yeah.
We have to get a team out here for us.
Yeah. No, amen.
And they can print it out because you're busy getting the podcast together and you're doing your amazing, second in command shift and also taking care of your family. And then we have our editors who's taking care of us in our publishing house. That's what we're going to do. We got to get these people out there.
Yeah, word for real.
I need people to help because I can't do it on my own.
No, I get you. And
I find it, underneath the mattress.
But you know what? I like the fact that in social media it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's not all terrible. And yeah, you have the bullshit that we have to deal with whether it's catfishing or there's drama on there for no reason, because that's everywhere. Just like when you go to work, you meet someone for the first time and it's uncomfortable, but then you get to know the person. But I feel like the fact that we come from different parts of the world, then and there's an actual community specifically for what we're doing, and the fact that like I said earlier about whether it's the poetry community, within the poetry community, whether it's the what do you call it? Whether it's the the publishing, the editing, or whether it's the podcasting and stuff like that. Because one thing I do want to do is I want to be a bridge, but the fact that there is a sense of belonging, there's a sense of realness. Like yeah, we do want to be there for each other. We do want to connect with each other. And yeah, there's that bullshit with catfish and everything else. But that's always gonna be that fear. But the fact that there is a sense of belonging, there's a sense of realness that wow, like no, people really do want to get to each other and get together. Yeah, we live in different parts of the states, we live in different parts of the country and this entire world, but at the end of the day, the fact that there is such thing as that, and that's a beautiful thing. And it's good to know that, okay, social media is not all that crazy after all if we play our cards right. Because let's be honest, I can honestly say I've had some, I've experienced some little things too along the way, but that's everywhere, anywhere, whether
Oh,
it's
for
at
sure.
work, whether it's at home with family, you're always gonna have some kind of drama. It's what you do with it and how you react to it is what determines the outcome. My whole thing is, all right, whatever, shrug my shoulders and move on.
Yeah, Andy, I gotta stop because there were so many things that you said that were so great that I wanted to
I'm
make sure. Like,
sorry.
no, I'm exactly like you. By the way, like again at work, people have told me like, you gotta stop talking, Murray, stop talking. Let the kids talk. So I get no, but I'm just saying, I struggle with knowing when to interject. I don't know how to start or stop a conversation. So
No,
honestly,
I'm the
I
same
hate.
way. Sometimes my wife
So
has to tell me to shush.
and not just that, I when I get excited, I get louder, and I don't hear it until it's too late, and then
Mm.
everybody's super sound sensitive around me at times, and I'm like, I'm just excited. I'm sorry. I don't even know I'm shouting right now. But um, I forgot what those points were, but they were so good that I just want to emphasize your points. What did you say real quick? Do you remember what you just said to your point about
Um.
community or
Oh, that they're like on social media, like there legit
yeah,
is,
pause.
yeah.
I'm stopping you. Pause. Because I remember what it was. Yeah. And again, I'm sorry, you're gonna almost have to subtitle this dichotomy because again, I work in a district where it's seen from a certain light because of what it's being put out there. But what the reality is to the day to day is nothing like what's being put out there. So yeah, if this place that we're going to commit to is about the work and the art and creating this space, then that's what it's going to be for. Like I've been hurt by some like nasty drums things on here unnecessarily by like collateral, and I'm like, I'm just here to write poetry and do sketches that I hope people think are okay. Because I don't know if I'm an artist, and if people tell me I'm good, then maybe I can identify as an artist because I feel like an artist. So yeah, but again, it's not all bad, but it has been so toxic that we get on and we feel bad. And
Yeah.
and again, I have to reflect on my own feelings at times. Like I said, I had to step away for a while. And if I didn't step away, it was going to be damaging to like just everything. There was something earlier when you were talking. I just forgot to make this point. When you were talking about how amazing your wife was, that's like again having a spouse that's been so supportive. I'm so lucky to have the same because my husband has helped me get back into this, and because again, I've always found poetry to lead me to people in my life that I connect to on such a deep personal level because like again, this is who I really feel inside vulnerably, and this is how I can express myself. I'm not a person who can be concise and can express my feelings in a really nice wrapped up way. I can only express how I truly feel in these garbled up poems that you guys have been seeing out there, for me, and so having his support and really pushing me back, and it's that's so important. So not just having people at home, but like, yeah, let's get together and those who out there, because I think we're all sick. We're sick of being sick and unhappy, and it's time for us to take it back. And
Yeah, I definitely agree.
and
Hey, Allen Ginsberg did it in the '60s and and all
yeah,
that. Hey, we gotta have some kind of movement
23,
because there was a
20,
renaissance in the 2019, 2020, and I
yeah,
feel like somewhere down the line, I think once everything started like slowly getting back to normal, yeah, it was kind of still there, but it wasn't as impactful. And I feel like we got to go back to that regardless of our normal lives, we gotta
mhm.
make it as impactful. Cause why is it the rap game or the music game or whatever? It's so bad right now. Like music is
Because it's money.
horrible.
It's money, and that's what we don't understand is we've become such a consumer society that we're giving it away, and again, I teach high school, so I am trying to engage with this generation that's coming up, and a student of mine the other day said this, and they were serious. I really hope they weren't serious. They said, Miss Murray, we failed already. We already failed you as a generation. And I go, what? No, no, no. We failed you. No, you didn't fail us. Yeah, you guys do the potential. You have to take care of me. I'm already old, but I'm gonna be old soon. Like this is the generation that has to take care of me when I can't do anything anymore. And for them to say, yeah, we already failed you. And I think they do believe that. They do believe that it's almost futile. And
There's no
because
proper guidance. That's what it
I
is.
and I was thinking about this, and again, I have my own family, and I'm in similar situations, but I wonder, like, not just like we're not engaging with each other on a peer group, but like students, and how often are they able to engage with adults? Because, you know, a lot of times our parents are both working, or we're in homes where there's only one parent and they're working. So like, how often? And again, I work in the educational system, and there's a lot of burnout, and a lot of teachers out there don't understand that a student, if they're just sitting there not doing anything, you just need to go talk to them, and not just say, hey, they're just not doing the work. Like, just have a conversation with somebody. Like, they're
Yeah.
not, they're just going, hey, can you do your work? And no, you're not going to do it. Why? I don't understand why you're not doing it.
Yeah, no one conversates. I think
Yeah.
too. No one really conversates anymore. See, like I grew up at a time where there was no such thing. It was more like, okay, do what I tell you. You gotta understand what I'm saying, and that's it, and shut the hell up. In opposed to maybe later on in life, after I guess during my generation of when adults are parents now, yeah, they do talk to their kids, but it's not in a way that it's moving. It's not in a
No,
way
it's
that it's
not
like,
functional. It's emotional and it's social, and it's because we want to be social with our kids because we're sick of the daily grind. So we come home and we try to, have fun, and have fun relationships with our kids, but our kids are also needing structure. Because I struggle with that line of being, hold back, trying to teach you something versus just like, hey, can you just do it or not? And then at the
okay,
same time, am I taking it the wrong way? Because continue what you were saying about how you were viewed. Because how I view it too, real quick, because nobody has to know anything anymore. It's not like how it was for us. Now we had the latchkey. Our my generation was the latchkey. So like that was when we started having the. I grew up in the '90s. I graduated. Oh. So you guys can figure out my age from there. But it was more like my parents were more like, you do this, you do this, you do this, and now it's more like conversations about just, are you okay, how are things going, um because we're just trying to all survive, because we're all just sick and tired, and not happy. So because we're not happy, we're just tired at home. I
yeah,
don't know if you're tired at home. I'm tired at home, and I just don't want to fight anymore. I'm not going to fight with
yeah, no,
I'm a
and that.
defender. I'm a lover. I have no fight. I don't want to fight with anybody.
No, I
So
get you.
I'm sick of the fight. So like, I don't fight with students. I don't fight with my children.
No, I
But I
get you.
fight
Cause
with
my
myself.
wife, yeah, cause my wife's the same way. Where she just, okay, I just want to go home. Like, oh, so let's say if I come home and I'm annoyed, she be like, baby, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. Don't
Hmm. Hmm.
relax. Like, go
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
there and detox before you talk to me. Cause I
Yeah.
don't bring that vibe over here. No, no, don't do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't. Don't bring that negative energy over here, because I don't deal with negative energy, because I feel negative energy. It doesn't feel good. But that's good. You take your little 2 seconds over there, because it sounds like you guys really have a great supporting
But you know
relationship.
what's crazy though? Because I didn't. It wasn't always like that because I lived in a one bedroom originally, and it was hard. It was me, my wife, and my son, and now I have a three-bedroom where it's like, okay, I have my son's room, my room, and then I have this other third room this is what I'm doing to do this right now.
You had that room to grow, and so you have space to breathe, and you guys were
Yeah, and now I can say,
navigate that. That's great.
okay, wow, I can finally do everything I wanted to do now. Like, I wanted to get better at playing guitar. Now I'm actually being intentional about doing that. I want to start doing the podcast again. I'm doing that now.
Doing
Like,
that.
I have the room for it now. It's crazy, and even if I'm loud, I'm
Literally.
so far away
Yeah.
from like the other rooms, and nobody's here. It's so crazy. I don't have to worry about neighbors because it's just my
You're
brother-in-law
free.
upstairs. It's my mother-in-law downstairs. We good. Everybody's
Great.
still doing their own
Ah,
thing.
that's wonderful, because like before, you probably felt like you couldn't really branch out. Because it sounds like you guys have the relationship where you want to support each other. You don't want to feel like you're burdening anybody, but you also have to breathe life into yourself, because you have to feed the fire inside of yourself to be whole, in order to bring, a full person to the table. Because yeah, dealing with sick relationships is very difficult, and yeah, I mean, definitely you can read all about, sickness and sadness in a lot of our writing. Definitely mine for sure. I try to reflect, things and processing, and whether it's me or just a feeling that people experience with that. So it's great to see how far you've come in a relationship. Although, let's be honest, in marriage,
And
it's
it
work.
always, yeah, it's not always rainbows and
You
and
think
and
you're up, you
sunshine.
think you're up, you blink and you're right back down. But if you believe, like I said, this place for here for me is the work, and I'm focused on that. So you're in the focus on always trying to at least wanting to be together, and that if you're willing to make it work, it will work. And once somebody doesn't want to work on it anymore, that's when it's over.
Amen. Amen. I
Yeah.
receive all that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, no, thank you. Thank you. Oh man, this is amazing. This is so great.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Sure.
Okay. So oh my God, that was so, it was very encouraging too to hear everything. This is so good. So
Mhm.
I never got a chance to ask if you wanted to read a piece.
Yeah, can I at least read one? I mean, I
Yeah,
know
go
you.
ahead,
I tried to come
please.
out. I tried to come out as a poet and an artist, and I loved our conversation. I could talk about all this great stuff for hours upon hours, but I guess we should at least try one poem, right?
Yeah, hey, go for it.
Um, I think I'm going to go with just one quick one. It's not new. It's kind of old. I guess we just talked about relationships and marriage. Okay, sorry. I just totally ruined it. We had such a great flow, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, goodness. So here we go. All right, so I'm gonna share one piece with everybody, and then if anybody enjoyed it out there, you could always come and check out, let the thoughts out because that's my handle. I'm Angela Murray. I'm breaking out as a poet and also an artist. Um, this one here, like, what I've really enjoyed about the community, Andy, is that the prompts have always been able to drive my creative process because
Yes.
having just like one phrase or one word, just having that, it will like boom, and all of a sudden it will lead into this word vomit that becomes something, and then that's really why I've loved this place. And the prompts have really what's done it, but it has to go beyond the prompts, I think, and that's why I'm happy that we're doing this. So here we go. Here's a poem. I don't know if it has a title, and I don't care. So here we go. In this biometric, synchronized dystopian lifetime, swimming through the chopped limbs, vicious, chunky thickness, it echoes of these saturated humdrums and styrofoam setbacks. The schooled fool, as of late, stepping over landmines, compressed, comforted, and confined cradled construction, weightless, flying by, soaring high, and rocking, creaking, creaky, porch swing, rusty sways, encumbered, pinned down, deviously, downright delighted, stark naked, black and white faded, vintage photo veiled, congealed flesh concealed in deep night quiet. Oblivious to obscurity, this small town cul-de-sac, with the exception of me, sipping serenades, shopping for stars, my way of praying away our sacred aches. Yesterday's morning, surrendering confessions, how willing I wanted, with gaping mouth open as I watch expectantly submissive as raw materials decombusive. This is not the poem I thought I was reading, by the way. Calcinations clinkering when cools hardened sledgehammers shatters our sequined silhouettes, unnerved as you poured concrete down my throat, afraid of what this could possibly mean when now I see you on the back of my eyelids. You poured concrete down my throat. We called it love and took it for granted.
Wow.
That was back in September 6th, 2021. So a little bit older. This was inspired by, you poured concrete down my throat, words cut up and pasted haphazardly together. This a poem inspired by a ton of prompts by three different prompt people at the time. Glimpses of My Soul 1111, You Have Me Grounded, and Jennifer Lynn Poetry were the three people that I had.
Jennifer Lynn Poet. Wow. I haven't. I forgot. Oh my God. Wow. I remember Jennifer Lynn Poetry. Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
know. Yeah. So, and again, so small world, but big world. And then, yeah, so that's kind of a snippet of my writing.
That's good. No, I love that, and I love the how you use certain words to articulate an emotion, right? Because you're not saying, "Oh, you cut me up, and you hurt my feelings." No, you're saying, yeah, like concrete, like you explaining, describing the feeling, the harshness of it. I love that. I always tell people like, "Yo, I wish I could write like that." Like, there's another person I wish I could write like too. Her name is Lois Sterling. She has a way of writing, and I'm just like, okay, I wish I could write like this. Like, this is crazy. I can never write like that. I just can't. It won't come out no matter how hard I try. And then there's another guy I follow named Hyro, and his main thing is surrealism, and I'm like,
I love surrealism. Yeah,
I could try, but it just won't come out.
No, listen. Um, the same way you feel is the same way I feel about like you and other people. I can't be concise. Actually, this person was a member. I think you actually interviewed him. I don't know if it was probably not. Edward Racy is actually the person that gave me
Yes,
this.
yes.
I'm about to share this feedback. He gave me this feedback, which I thought was really good. How he described how I wrote, but also at the same time, I don't know if you'll hear it the way I'll hear it too, because self-esteem me. He goes, the way you write for the sound of the words
Wow.
and the meaning. Which yes, I think I tried to go for more of like it's more of like a stream of my style or my creative like my if I can describe Angela Murray, it's like a surrealistic stream of consciousness. That's kind of where I try to put a lot of my artwork. It's kind of like it's subjective. You see what you're seeing. It's kind of like that's where the psychology background I think is where it's hidden in my art. Where the art kind of comes as I do it. I don't have a set plan when I do some of my abstract pieces.
Same here.
And
It just comes on the
oh,
fly.
and a lot of times it's of course like creepy, dark, evilly faces because I think I'm probably tormented and demented in my soul. But it's what I'm seeing. But what I see might be different than what you might see because of the way the light is reflecting it. How your brain is recognizing not a pattern, but it is trying to create a pattern. Because that's what your brain is trying to do. It's like an evolutionary thing. When you see like those faces in the clouds, it's because your brain is trying to find a recognizable pattern from the past. And so that's where I try to put my artwork. And then the stream of consciousness is kind of where I use sound more to get that stream of consciousness. And listen, your writing is perfect as it is. You don't need to change your writing for anybody because you're perfect. But things that have helped me as far as developing this kind of style is I have three little like tricks that work for me that I think it would be great to just share before if we need to wrap this up is I definitely use audio text at the end of my piece. I listen to it. So if I'm on Google, you just use read write, it will play it back, and that's really
That's
helpful
cool. That's
to catch
cool.
any mistakes. So sometimes my brain will start clicking ahead of what I want to say that I don't write what I meant to say. Um, it
Okay.
also teach those homophones, like you spelled the word right, but it's the wrong word.
Oh
Um,
my god, I hate homophobes. I swear to God.
yeah, and then the two things is I two websites that I always use, which are my like references, is I always like to use Power Thesaurus is always something that I use. It helps finding words that mean similar things, but also will hit more of the sound for me.
Okay.
And then Rhyme Zone. Like I utilize those three things, and that's those three things have really helped me as far as trying to develop that kind of word vomity, stream of conscious, messy, beautiful mess, or broken, beautiful mess kind of Angela Murray style. So
Awesome.
thank you so much for having me on this first, brand rebrand of let's say that name again for this rebrand.
Oh, so yeah, so the no, I'm just blushy. Don't mind me. I'm sorry.
So you're good.
So the new rebranding name of this podcast is now officially known as Unraveled Influence.
Like, how did you guys collaborate on that? Because I just love that on Gravel.
So the way we came up with the podcast name was very, very interesting, right? Because unfortunately, it was hard to come up with the name in the first place, right? Because what ended up happening was it was all these names, and out of all the names we came up with, we basically was collaborating to the point where, like, okay, we all have a lot of ambition, a lot of influences in our lives that we want to unravel. Everything influences us. Everything gives us ambition. Everything gives us a drive to unravel a story to tell. So we decided Unraveled Influence would be the perfect name for that. So again, I really appreciate you being a part of this first episode experience. Like, thank you for your presence. I can tell just by the vibe I get from you. You have been through a whole lot, and I feel like I really believe in my heart that this year is going to be the year this is gonna be your year, basically. What it all comes down to.
I'll take it. You put it out there. Same for you. Like this is all of our years. Everybody out there. Again, I am so humbled. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything you have been doing for not just yourself, but for all of us. And even though Leon's not here, I definitely appreciate his participation in this whole avenue as well. And I look forward to being a part of hearing it all and getting it all and really coming together on
Thank
this.
you,
So.
thank you. I really appreciate that. So, guys, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, peace.